Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne Kimble, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. In today's video, I'm going to help you to decide should you do a claim for increase or a high-level review once the VA has service connected you. Make sure you stick around. Before we get into today's video, make sure you go out to my website, pick up a new book, VA Claim Success. You purchase the book through the website. I will send you a signed copy. So today's topic: can you or should you file for an increase or submit a high-level review once the VA has service connected you for a particular condition? Now, the best way to explain this, let me give you an example so you know exactly where I'm going with this. You filed a claim, whether it be secondary, increase, or direct service connection, pre-aggravation service connection, whatever, for a back condition. And the VA comes back with a rating decision and they grant the benefit, but they grant it at, let's say, 0%. Should you go for the increase or should you do a high-level review? Now, a lot of veterans that I talk to, I'm doing a high-level review. They filed a high-level review. They haven't reviewed any evidence. They haven't submitted to get a copy of their claims folder, no nothing, and they didn't even read the rating decision, half of it anyway, okay? So what we're gonna go through today is going to help you make that decision and what you can do before you make that decision, okay? So you file for a claim for a back condition, you get service connected, but it's at 0. Should you do an increase or high-level review? Got a slide for you, as always, so let's go. Slide number 1. Here's slide number 1. This is the general rating criteria for the back conditions for diagnostic code 5235, 5243, and 5243, unless 5243 is evaluated under the formula for rating IDVS. Okay, now, you file a claim, you get service connected. That's great, because we all know it's hard just getting service connection, right? But you get service connected at 0. A lot of veterans are going right to the high-level review without reviewing anything, and that's a mistake. Here's why. If you had a CMP exam, was more than likely you did, how are you going to do a high-level review and you don't have a copy of that CMP exam? Because on that CMP exam, it's going to give the information that I have highlighted in red. So what is your argument based on fact or law on a high-level review? So let's just say you got 0%, okay? In order to get 10%, it states forward flexion of the thoracolumbar spine greater than 60 degrees, but not greater than 85 degrees. Or combined range of motion of the thoracolumbar spine greater than 120 degrees, but not greater than 235 degrees. So let's just say you filed a claim to get service connected at 0% because your forward flexion is at, let's say, 100 degrees. But you wouldn't know that because you don't have a copy of the CMP exam. Because on that DBQ, that CMP exam, it has all the range of motion, okay? So how are you gonna win that on a high-level review? What is the argument? And a lot of veterans are electing for a high-level review without getting a copy of the CMP exam, and they do the informal conference and they're just telling the dro, let me tell you my story. Oh, I had x-rays, I got a bulging disc, I have MRIs, I have to take injections and all that. Do you see injections, MRIs, implants, stimulation, TENS unit, or whatever it is, do you see that in this 10%, 20%, or 40% criteria? No. It's based off of range of motion. So how are you going to win that on a high level review? Because guess what they're going to do? That drawer is going to look at that CMP exam. If I was a decision review officer, I'm going right to that CMP exam. Are the measurements, where does the range of motion fall under the 10, 20, or 40? If it doesn't fall under the 10, 20, or 40, confirm and continue at 0%. So you got to have this CMP exam. Now, keep in mind, this is for any condition. I'm just using the back as an example. But you have to think about this for any condition, especially for the back. Veterans always, I got a bulging disc at L5. Okay, where does it say bulging disc? Let me look. 20%? No, don't say anything about bulging disc. Oh, wait a minute. It might be in the 40%. 40% may have, you got an MRI, you got an injection. Oh, nope, don't have it there either. Okay? This is how you make that decision to do an increase or higher review. So if you get a copy of that CMP exam and you see, wait a minute, my range of motion doesn't match the 20, 30, or 40. Here's a diagram of how they measure range of motion. What's forward flexion? Now this education is starting to kick in, okay? So then if you feel, wait a minute, the doctor didn't measure it right. I got other videos out there that explains what tool they supposed to use. But this is just not for joints. This is for any condition that you're service connected for, okay? So then you might say, you know what? Well, I think they got it wrong. Now I know the diagnostic code criteria. I know what they're looking for. I meet the 20%. I'm going to go in for an increase. Because if that CMP exam says something different that's not under the 10, 20, or 40 for this condition, confirm and continue at 0%. I don't care what a VSO, accredited VSO, accredited claims agent, accredited lawyer tell you, this is fact, okay? Now, how do I know this? Because when I rate it, I would see it all the time. Veterans going to I look at the claim, they did a high level review. I go back and look, confirm to continue at 0%, 10%, or whatever the original service connection was, right? And then guess what the veteran is doing when it lands on my desk? They came in for an increase. So they just wasted all of that time. And again, this is what we do with our clients. We are educating them on the little things, because the little things is what's going to add up to big things. And when you get to these big things, now you're talking about maximizing your compensation benefits, getting the percentage that you feel you deserve for whatever condition you're claiming. Now, in this example, I showed you just the back, but this can relate to other conditions, migraines, okay, peripheral neuropathy. You can apply it, but how are you going to win a higher review, especially if you had a CMP exam and you were service connected? How are you going to win that higher review to get a higher percentage when you don't know what's on the exam? Did the evidence that you submit, does it fall under the higher criteria? Now, when you get that rating decision, they're going to tell you, we granted 0, 10, 20, whatever percentage that they granted you for, they're going to tell you that. By law, they have to turn around and tell you why the next higher percentage was not warranted. But guess what? Veterans don't even read it. Majority of veterans, not all, the majority of veterans don't even read that part. They go down to the local veteran hall, VFW, American Legion, and they have a couple of beers with their buddies. You should get more than that. They said you should get, and that's where veterans get themselves in trouble. Just appeal it. Do a high level review. Well, do you know what you're appealing? What you know what you're doing a high level review for? Do you know what fact or law that you're going to argue? And in this instance, do you even know the criteria for the next higher percentage? A lot of veterans, they don't even, when I talk to them, they don't even know. And I tell them, you know where you can find it? Besides on the VA's website, in the rating decision that they sent you. So I already know that they didn't read it. Because if they did, they should have highlighted it. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Something's not right. So that should help you to determine, do you do an increase or do you do a high-level review? When I did my appeal, I had a copy of my entire claims folder. That's how I was able to win. I had full transparency. That is what you need. You just can't go up there and be like, oh, because I feel, oh, I served my country, oh, I wore the uniform. That does not work. They have regulations that they have to follow. So if you find yourself in this predicament, you get service connected, look at why they granted you that percentage and why they didn't grant you the next higher percentage. Get the evidence that you need, especially if you got a CMP exam. See what's on that exam, because that's what the rater has to go off of. And then that should help you make that determination. Do I do an increase or do I do a high-level review? So if you didn't submit any additional evidence that shows you meet the criteria for the next higher percentage, then the increase is in order. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose that high-level review because there's nothing in the file that shows you should warrant a higher evaluation / percentage, okay? So with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and don't forget to share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.